Thank you, Madam President. I rise today with deep disappointment and frustration at the House of Representatives' failure to take up my bipartisan, bicameral legislation with Senator Bill Cassidy, the Children's and Teens Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA 2.0. Just a few months ago, the Senate passed COPPA 2.0 by a resounding vote of 91-3 as part of the Kids Online Safety and Privacy Act. It was a remarkable moment for a chamber that has too often succumbed to partisanship on key technology issues. Young people and families across the country finally had a moment to celebrate that their government was actually coming to their aid on a critical issue. That lawmakers from across the aisle could hold hands and recognize that the youth mental health crisis was raging in red and blue states alike. This crisis demanded action, and the United States Senate was meeting the need and the moment with a popular children's and teens privacy bill. Help, it seemed, was finally on the way. It was long overdue. For more than a decade, I have been fighting to strengthen online protections for our young people. In fact, if COPPA 2.0 were a person, it would have just turned 13 and would have aged out of our current privacy protections for children, which I first authored 26 years ago. Over those 26 years, that law, the original Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, has been critical to protecting children online. But when I wrote COPPA, only birds tweeted, and TikTok was the sound that a clock made. Today, our children and teens confront a far more complicated and privacy-invasive online world, one that, according to medical experts and the Surgeon General, is contributing to a youth mental health crisis. The stats are devastating. The stats are overwhelming. Listen to these stats. Listen to the problem we have in our country. More than 1 in 4 high school girls in the United States seriously considered suicide in 2023. 1 in 4 teenage girls. And at least 1 in 8 high school girls attempted suicide in 2023. Let me repeat it again. 1 in 8 teenage high school girls attempted suicide in 2023. And amongst LGBTQ youth, the number is more like 1 in 5 attempted suicide in 2023. COPPA 2.0 cuts to the heart of the emergency. COPPA 2.0 bans targeted advertising to young people, ensuring that teenage girls stop being targeted with weight loss pills and other harmful ads. It empowers parents and teens by giving them an eraser button to delete an ill-advised post. And it prevents companies from burying their heads in the sand and ignoring the children and teens on their platforms. These policies specifically target big tech's financial incentives profiting off of targeting ads to keep kids and teens clicking, swiping, and scrolling on social media, even to their ill health. In fact, in 2022, the major big tech platforms earned nearly $11 billion from U.S. users under the age of 18. $11 billion, and that's 11 billion reasons to oppose any opposition to COPPA 2.0. But the tech companies, they want to monetize the young people in our country. And we know they're doing so at the expense of their mental health. Who said it? The Surgeon General of the United States. Who said it? The pediatricians of the United States, the experts on the children and teenagers in our country. A mental health crisis largely created by online social media. Okay. So this is an incredible moment for us because those $11 billion, which the media companies, the big tech companies make, they're 11 billion reasons to turn their lobbying power on the House Republican leadership and concoct far-fetched theories for why a bill that passed 91-3 on the floor of the United States Senate should not even receive a vote at the height of a mental health crisis for young people in our country on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. Unfortunately, House Republican leadership capitulated to the pressure of big tech with grave consequences for young people. The House had a rare opportunity to show families across the country that it cared about their children, about their teenagers, that money and politics didn't drive their decision-making, that our youngest and our most vulnerable came first, and not big tech. But House Republican leadership, they failed that test. They sat for months on the Child Online Privacy Protection Act and then refused to even consider it for passage at the end of the year. They want to wait until next year and next year. We've brought this bill out for 3 Congresses in a row. This is not a new issue. It's a crisis. Everyone knows it's a crisis. Everyone knows that teenagers are getting addicted because of deliberate strategies by big tech to absolutely harm them. We know that right now, if a teenage girl has bulimia and she goes online to get information about it because she's only told her mother and father, that girl can be bombarded with ads from companies, from others, because that information is now out there that she Google searched. Well, the impact on her psyche is dramatic if that happens. And it's happening every single day because big tech monetizes that girl's bulimia or anorexia problem. This is the bill that just says you can't do that. If the parents want all that information erased, or they don't want the girl to be targeted with ads, you can't do it. 91-3 on the on the Senate floor. No vote in the House. 3 Congresses in a row. So they always want to wait until next year for a Republican Congress, a Republican president. Yeah, well, what about right now? And are they actually going to do it next year? And while they wait, our young people will continue to suffer. Every day that this does not pass is another day where platforms can serve dangerous, targeted ads to children and teens. Every day that it does not pass is another day where parents and teens don't have the tools they need to protect themselves online. Every day that COPPA 2.0 does not pass is another day where children and teens are suffering from suicide, from anxiety, from depression. This is the heart of the issue. This is the sinister side of cyberspace. This is the harmful side of it. Are we going to do anything about it? There's a Dickensian quality to the internet. It's the best of technologies and the worst of technologies simultaneously. It can enable, it can ennoble, it can degrade, it can debase. Yes, these companies, they tout all the wonderful things that they're going to do, and they actually want to put it on steroids, AI. They're going to find the cure for cancer. They're going to do all these other wonderful things. We'll see. But at the same time, we don't have the safeguards built around the harm they are doing right now. The mental health harm to teenagers and children in our country, and it's only going to get worse, much worse, as AI injects itself into the system more and more. More suicide, more anxiety, more depression. So it's a sad day for an institution that had an historic opportunity. And I commend the Senate leadership for making a different decision and prioritizing the mental health of kids and teens. But I am deeply disappointed in the House of Representatives, where I proudly served for 36 years. For decades, the House has lamented that the Senate's rules have prevented us from taking action on important issues. And I have made those arguments myself as a House member years ago. But when the Senate did act on an issue critical to families and to parents across the country, and when it acted decisively, House Republican leadership decided to play politics with the lives of teenage children in our country. So to the kids and the parents and the advocates who have fought courageously for stronger online privacy rights for children and for teens, thank you. Don't go away. Keep your energy up. You're knocked down, you're hurting, just come right back. Come back the same way the abolitionists came back, the same way the suffragettes came back, the same way the anti-Vietnam movement came back, the same way the same-sex marriage movement came back. Just get up again. We're right, they're wrong. We have to get this passed. So I've been honored to be with you. It's a very disheartening moment, very disheartening. This is an ongoing, preventable crisis in our country. And if we don't act, and act soon, we're going to have teenagers and children 20 years from now writing books about what their congressmen, their senators, an older generation inflicted upon them with no protections whatsoever. They'll be talking about it. They'll be writing about it. So let me finish again by giving you the numbers, okay? These are, without question, some of the most staggering numbers I have ever seen attached to one single preventable issue. 1 in 4 high school girls in the United States seriously considered suicide in 2023. Let me just say that. 1 in 4 seriously considered it. 1 in 8 high school girls in the United States in 2023 actually attempted suicide. 1 in 8. And 1 in 5 LGBTQ attempted suicide in 2023. And the Surgeon General, the pediatricians of our country point the finger at social media, the self-image of these kids as one of the leading causes. And we're not going to pass this legislation. And the actions in the House, and now from Elon Musk and others who are preventing this whole institution from working, are going to ultimately expose all of these young people to images, ideas that are, in fact, avoidable. So, Mr. President, I thank you for giving me the time, and to all of those who worked so hard on this legislation over the last 2 years, please get up and get ready to come back again next year, because this is a crisis in our country. This is something that these young people do not deserve, and their privacy cannot be monetized. It is just absolutely wrong and preventable. So with that, Mr. President, I yield back to balance my time.